Okay, I just thought I'd make a short video because, yeah, I haven't done any live streaming for a while because I'm waiting for some parts at the moment. But this is an update, just a short update. Now, I've made quite a few improvements to the Bubbleator, as I call it. Now, I got my magnifying glass set up on the curve, but actually the phone works pretty well, so I'm just going to film the current to the motor. And at the moment, the motor is being driven with 9.33 volts at 150 milliamps. And one coil is on the 2 volt range and receiving 1.862 volts. Right. That's one coil. That's one coil. I don't know if you can hear me properly because of the noise, but the other coil is generating. Just a minute, hang on. 1.715 volts. Now, bear in mind that when I made some alterations recently, my voltages dropped way down. I mean, way down. I'll explain that in a minute. Basically, the voltage has dropped down to about, I think it was about 0.8 volts, and I was struggling to get 1 volt out of it. Well, I'll explain why in a minute. But for the moment, I'm at 757 RPM. Now, I'm going to put the other meter on current. So I'm going to put this on current, which is on the 200 milliamp range. We're drawing 24 milliamps. The RPM. As you can see, the RPM has hardly dropped at all. Still at 24 milliamps, 23.9 milliamps. The other meter is now reading. Hang on. That's the voltage on the other meter at the moment because that's the second coil. The second coil is reading 1.443 volts, while the other coil is loaded down at 24 milliamps. We're currently at 750 RPM. Motor voltage is 9.34 volts, 150 milliamps. So let's take the load off now. Let's take the load back to voltage. Now back on voltage. Okay, right. I've explained that. I'll bring my meter over here because I want to keep an eye on things. Sorry about this. Right. Now it's difficult talking when I'm near the device because it throws out a lot of magnetic interference and vibration. But basically, the RPMs, I'm not losing much at all. Now I need to explain why I sacrificed the voltage I was getting before, which is around 5 volts. Right, I've got a pen. I could have drawn this on the computer, but to be honest with you, I hate using the computer to draw things. Right, my device uses a magnetic switching method. Now we've got the concentric magnet, right, which is right here. I'm just going to use one for an example. Sorry, I still can't draw. Right, so we've got the south coming in. North is pointing outwards. It's going nowhere really. We've got the south coming in. We've got a steel coupler, right? And it's basically a steel washer, right? Now the magnetic field from the concentric is coming into this steel washer here at this point. Now normally the magnetism is flowing in this direction and this direction. It's coming out both ends basically. But when a rotor magnet passes, I'm not going to draw here because I can't rub it out. But let's say the south pole is here, right? Now the south pole is being repelled. So what happens is the south pole is repelled, and it comes. All of the south pole is now directed out this end here, and it's this pole, this flux from this magnet concentric here. It's this flux here that's doing the work for generating the power. Now what happened previously was I had a core that ran all the way through, right? I had a core that ran all the way through to the bobbins, to the coils, right? So what was happening was I was harvesting energy from the rotors. Now when you do that, you incur the Lenz effect, which is the braking effect, because every action equals an equal and opposite reaction, basically. So when we loaded the coils down, we saw a huge drop in RPM. So what this is, basically, is proxy, right? This is a proxy switch. Now what that does is this magnetic rotor, the magnetic field from the rotor is offset and balanced. You have to have an equal amount of magnetism from this magnet here on the rotor and this magnet here, and in order to prevent, if you've got excess magnetism from the rotor, then that magnetism is going to still be affected by Lenz law, right? But if you have an equal amount of magnetism from the concentric and the rotor, then you have a balance here, but most of the flux from the concentric is actually deflected, and it does the generation, right? So the best case scenario is 50-50, so you get a 50% at least of gain. Now, when this is north, right, when this magnet is north, it's actually pulling the south in this direction, and this end is actually neutral. Now, I've done a load of tests, and from what I've found, as long as you don't over-bias it, you know, if you don't have more north over here than you have over here, then that will be neutral. It will be off, basically. So it's a balancing, it's a seesaw effect. You've got to balance everything. You have to have the same flux over here as what you have over here, and it's not an amplifier as such. It's simply a switch, magnetic switch. It switches the flux direction either this way or that way. Now remember, the 6 of these, there's the south, the 3 souths and 3 norths. So how do we balance all of that? Well, basically, if there's 3 souths on here and 3 norths on the concentric, then you need 3 on the rotor to balance it out. And if we have 4 souths and 4 norths, then we have to have 4 souths and 4 norths on the rotor. And you think, well, hang on, if you've got 4 souths and 4 norths, that's 8. You should have 8 magnets over here. No, we don't. Because remember, these magnets are pulling or pushing. So if this magnet here on the rotor is actually pushing south, right, it's actually pulling the north. So it's actually equalized, it's balanced. So we have minimal amount of drag on the rotor because we're actually pulling the 3 norths and we're pushing the 3 souths at the same time. Got the picture? So that's why I lost about 5 volts because I was getting up to around 5 volts at one point on a previous test. That's because I removed the direct coupling rod that went all the way through, which had a ring on the end, that went all the way through to the coil, because that is direct, and that was causing me to lose a lot of RPM. So when I did that, I lost a lot of my voltage, but I actually helped to circumvent Lenz law. Well, I am isolated it completely, but the trick is to get the angles right. You've got to get the angles right between the rotor and the concentric and the coil. The angles are critical because if you don't get the angles right, then you don't deflect it. You just cancel everything out. You lose all your energy. So it's a little bit like when you get 2 magnets on a table and you can angle them in such a position where you actually get a gain of magnetism. But if you angle them into other positions, it just cancels it out. And that's what that Hallback array thing is. If you've seen that on YouTube, the Hallback array thing. Well, anyway, that basically cancels out one of the sides of magnets if you have the magnetism directly facing. So you have to adjust the angles, and that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm trying to get right, is the angles, and it's not easy. So, let's see what we are at the moment. We're at 1.845 volts, and I can actually get this at 2 volts, you know, simply by moving the rotors a bit closer to the concentrics. I'll show you what I mean. If I put this on 20 volt range, and if I actually move, because this mechanism does twist a bit, if I push this side up a bit with my finger, we can actually get 2 volts. Just by adjusting the rotors. But I don't want to do that because it throws everything out of balance. Because it's important that we have an equal amount of balance on this side as we do on this side. So, anyway, we're 755 RPM. We're still drawing 150 milliamps. The other meter is at 1.705, 1.704. So anyway, just a short update video. I tried live streaming with this meter, but the camera is very poor. It doesn't focus on it, and I had to use a magnifying glass, and that thing is clumsy, and it puts a lot of stress and weight on my mechanism. So until I can figure out a better way of filming this thing, I'm just a bit reluctant at the moment because a lot of weight on this with these rotors. There's about almost 750 grams, I think, of them 2 rotors now, and it's only flimsy. These rods that connect everything, it's just nylon. It's just nylon plastic. It bends. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'll see about setting up another camera to actually filmed this all and tried to get it all in. I've been trying to work it out how I can get that meter, all meters in the shot at the same time. And it's not easy because I'm still on XP. But anyway, I hope that explains it a little bit better. So, anyway, thank you. Sorry about this. I hope you don't. But we don't make anyone dizzy. Anyway, thanks for watching.